Okay.
I have the Nokia 6600. It was released in 2003. It has 6 megabytes of storage, a 2.1-inch screen, a 0.3 megapixel camera with a 2x zoom, and an 850 milliamp battery.
I have the Nokia 3200. It was released in 2003. It has 1 megabytes of storage, a 1.56-inch screen, a 0.1 megapixel camera, and a 780 milliamp hour battery.
We knew we wanted to do a Nokia video, so I found this phone with this huge camera, this like James Bond camera on the back of it, and then you found what you found.
I stumbled across this and I was blown away by the buttons of the phone, because all the buttons, they're like, you would need really small hands to navigate this phone.
That's what I was going to say about my phone too, because mine has this joystick that I actually like a lot, but all of the buttons are so small, and like while we were setting up these phones for this video, I was constantly hitting the button underneath it or the one above it.
Yeah.
The buttons kind of like overlap into each other, so you can kind of get like a feel for where your finger is at. With this kind of bar form factor phone, that's kind of what you want. You want a feel of like where your thumb is at without having to even look at the phone.
Yeah. The directional pad on this phone is way too small. You have to use like your fingernail, at least I do, to hit any of the buttons. Like if I use my whole finger, it'll just hit the entire button. So like both functions would go off at once.
Yeah.
We accidentally got both of these phones from 2003.
Yeah. So. It just so happened that these both released in 2003.
Yeah.
And I think mine was discontinued in 2007.
My phone is incredibly slow.
Yeah.
So like I was trying to boot up a game a little bit ago, and it actually like timed out because of how slow it was taking. I did eventually get it up and running, and it's not very fun.
Speaking of the games on this phone, I think I have Snake, and I have like some lame puzzle swap, like tile swap game.
Yeah.
You have freaking
Create the picture.
Guitar Hero on your phone.
There's a game called Virtual Me, which is like Guitar Hero, but you're mashing like the directional key and the soft keys, and it's just impossible because the little bar is going like 1,000 miles per hour.
I would say probably the most ingenious thing about this phone is like, one, the design of it. Like the form factor of it is like, I think, brilliant. It has like a curvature on the side, so like it fits into the palm of your hand perfectly.
I was gonna say it's shaped like your palm.
Yeah,
you know?
like
it's
if
really
it was
wide.
like if it was like super straight, you know, like more angular, like kind of like how phones are getting now.
Yeah.
You know, like it wouldn't feel nearly as good.
I feel like this phone is like literally half the size that like it should be, or as it should be.
Yeah. That is one of the things about your phone. Like it's kind of a toy, because like you have different skins that you can apply.
So there are these different little inlays that you can put underneath the little plastic cover, and I think the phone came with probably, I would say, like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
And the one that came with my phone is actually has like a 3D effect. So if you move the phone up and down, it has this little illusion that it does. And the background of my phone actually matches the inlay that it came with, so
that's really neat.
They were planning it.
My phone also has like 3 themes that are already pre-installed into it, and they all look really nice. I love the personality of this phone. Like immediately from like the home UI, it's got this very widget kind of like post Y2K interface. Like everything has its own icon, like even down to like the messaging app.
Yeah.
The inbox, the drafts, like everything is very visually pleasing.
Yours is a lot more streamlined.
Yeah.
Like whenever I hit the menu key on my phone, it's like a tile system to where it's like one tile shows up at the screen at a time. Mm-hmm. So like you go from messages to call register to contacts. So it's like
you feel like you're trudging through like a sea of molasses.
It's just too slow.
To get
like you couldn't get to anything like fast.
No, this phone is pretty snappy. It's streamlined to the point where there is like a designated button to change to letter mode and like symbol mode and all of that. Like there's no going to options and then scrolling down or like.
Yeah, they wanted it to be quick.
That is one thing about the design of this phone is the front of it is all business and the back of it looks absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
I love it though.
Yeah,
it does. It's not the lens. The frame around the lens is massive. Like, it wants you to know that this is a camera phone.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it, but it does look really goofy.
I think this phone is just ugly. Like, the inlays underneath the cover is kind of cool, but, like, if you turn the phone over, it's just gray with the battery.
Yeah.
Like, you just see the battery through the the plastic.
Well, that kind of was a thing at the time. Like you think back to the onslaught of like third-party controllers that were like translucent for like game consoles and stuff like
That's
that.
true. And
Like-
that was like super popular in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's a stylistic decision. I just don't know if it holds up.
The buttons, aside from just being like inconvenient to use, the buttons look really nice until you turn the phone on. At least for this one, it has like this yellow backlight, and the buttons are like a little dirty, so it just looks like a bright dirt is like on the phone.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, this phone feels higher quality than that phone.
Yeah, this phone
Your
feels.
phone has a lot thinner plastic
yeah,
for like
it
the shell.
feels very plasticky. Even when
Like-
you're using it, you can kind of like feel the back cover
Yeah.
moving around.
Yeah,
and,
you
like,
could push in on it.
Yeah.
This phone feels like you could run over it. It would be just fine. But that could be just because of the size.
Among many of its tools, like it's got all the basic calculator, calendar, all of your basic like phone applications that would come with any phone. It also has a wallet feature where you can keep up with your finances. It's like a digital checkbook, and you can keep up with all of your credit cards, and it's very compartmentalized and kind of intuitive. Like you would think that would be a feature that would catch on, but I don't see that in most. I don't think I've seen that in any phone that we've done.
I don't think it caught on because, like, if you entered in, like, sensitive information, like,
Yeah.
your phone doesn't really have, like, a lock on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
There is a code. Like you
Yeah.
have like a wallet code, and you can make
Oh,
it
okay,
however long
okay.
you need it to be.
Okay. This phone doesn't really have any gimmicks that is, like, through the software. Like, I mean, the main gimmick with the phone is, like, the inlays that go underneath the screen,
Yeah.
which is cool. I think this phone was definitely targeted for younger people. Yours having, like, a wallet feature, it's definitely more for adults.
This feels like, with its like curved edges and its very wavy design, it's like you couldn't stub your toe on this phone, but it's also not a toy. Like it doesn't feel cheap, aside from, you know, the literal plastic, like the casing of the phone feeling kind of flimsy. And something that we discovered when looking into these phones that I had no idea about when I bought this phone. This is one of the best-selling phones of its generation. It sold 150 million units.
That is crazy.
Like, that's insane. Like, Nokia is a big brand, so this isn't like an underdog phone, but I had no idea that this phone was that popular.
I don't know how well this phone sold in the US, but most of the listings for this phone that I found on eBay were from other countries. Like, this phone took like almost 2 months to get to me, and it was expensive too.
Yeah.
Like I think I paid close to like $50 on top of like the
Jesus,
cost and the shipping.
Yeah.
And it didn't even come with a charger.
And
I
it
had
only
to
came
order
with
a
that one
charger.
inlay.
Yeah, that's all it has.
What we'll do now is show off the camera, followed by a quick sound test.
Both of these phones have. I'm assuming that both of these phones run on the same like Nokia marketplace.
Yeah,
or like Nokia
they probably do.
software, you know?
Yeah. Relative to when this came out, this is a very snazzy phone to have in your pocket.
For 2003, like your screen size and like the color is really nice.
Oh, for sure.
Plus like the games on
That's
it.
something that we didn't really go into. The display on this phone I actually like a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty good for real. The display on this phone is terrible.
Yeah.
It has like 4 colors on
Yeah.
it.
I noticed too when you were playing the games on your phone, clearly you have more advanced games than I do. I just have Snake and like a tile swapping game, but
Yeah.
the frame rate on your screen is so low
Oh,
that it
it's
has like this
terrible.
weird like blur effect. Because you have like a platformer on there, and it does not.
Yeah,
It's
both
not
of the
pleasant to
games don't
look
make
at.
any sense on this phone. The screen
Yeah.
is too small. The directional pad is too small. The frame rate is just non-existent. So, a very weird choice. Like Snake would have been perfect because Snake is just like moving in one direction and like one tile at a time. You know?
Yeah, and I can see why this phone did so well. It doesn't necessarily have any gimmick that really sells it. It's just a very standard. This is probably the most standard phone that we've done on this channel, and that's probably one of the worst we've done on the
Yeah,
channel.
probably. It's just a little too simple.
Yeah,
This would have definitely been like a budget phone. Your phone would have costed more for sure. It does have like a radio feature where if I click on it, it tells you to plug in like a headset, and I'm assuming that the headset will act as like an antenna. So you could listen to the radio in this thing, which is
That's
kind of
actually
cool. It died.
Oh yeah, one last feature of this phone, it has infrared, which is interesting.
Yeah, and it has Bluetooth.
And it has Bluetooth, yeah. I could see the marketing push behind that phone being Nokia's fun now.
Yeah.
This is
Or customizable.
yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But phones back then, they were all trying like something new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have all the weird hinges and stuff.
Everyone was trying to be the new standard.
I mean, as far as they knew, like customizing the little graphic underneath the plastic screen, that could have been a hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We could still be doing that today.
Yeah.
if that phone took off. Yeah, I think that's it.